I got lucky against Ron.
I did it!
We are back with another in our series of videos celebrating the history of the Mattress Poker Tour. This time we'll take a look at some of the greatest moments in the history of the series. In March of 2007, in only the second official event in MPT history, a field of 5 players gathered to dethrone the first MPT champion, but Bet Two Ponies had the last laugh, becoming the first player to eliminate all of his opponents in a single tournament. 13 players gathered in July of 2008 for what was then the biggest tournament in MPT history and remains one of the largest fields in our history. One of those players was the clear star of the show that day, as Amazon survived a tiny stack of only 35 chips, a lengthy roller coaster heads-up battle, which included an unplanned break, and with a little help from her friends, completed the greatest comeback in MPT history. After winning the first 2 points-paying tournaments, including the first main event, Bet Two Ponies was the biggest star of the early MPT events, but struggled through the 2008 season without a single cash going into the last event of the year. But on December 28, 2008, he reminded everyone just how dangerous he is in December, with his third straight MPT win in that month, earning his second bracelet, and remaining the only player up to that point to win the MPT main event trophy. It's often said that you never forget your first time, and no one who was present for the first event of the 4th year of the MPT will ever forget what took place at the Showboat on June 13, 2009. After 5 MPT runner-ups in her first 14 events, at a time when no other player had finished second more than twice, Big Fuss had patiently waited for her time to come. On this day, she played a more aggressive style than in past years, and it worked, as she finally broke through to earn her first win. And she showed us all just how much winning an MPT title means.
You did it! I did it! Did I just win the tournament? Yes! I really... Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! This is great! Oh my god! This is wonderful! She got the trophy! I got one!
In August of 2009, 16 players gathered for what remains the largest field in MPT history. The star-studded field was led by poker author Trojan Rabbit, who took home the largest cash in MPT history en route to becoming the second Las Vegas Spectacular champion. Trojan Rabbit established what were at the time the records for most kills and highest point total in a single MPT event, both of which remain among the all-time single event records. Going into the final event of the 2009 season, it looked like the Sealy Cup race was just about sealed up. But Rowan B had other ideas. He had rebounded from a poor finish to the previous season and a lackluster start to this one, with increasingly better results as the season went on, but still trailed a remarkably consistent SAS going into the December 2009 main event. After what has been described as a fortuitous flop for Rowan B ended SAS's day early in the tournament, the door was open for a near miraculous comeback in the season point standings. And Rowan B nearly made that happen. He topped his previous best single event point total by 7 points, while finally dethroning Bet Two Ponies as main event champion, earning his 4th consecutive cash and breaking a string of 13 straight tournaments between victories, which was then the longest in MPT history, but fell a single point short of catching SAS in his attempt to add a green chip trophy to his achievements for that day. The glitziest event in MPT history, played on August 1st, 2010, featured several of the most memorable moments the series has ever seen, starting with a gathering of friends from the Kill Phil online poker forum, which MG Henry helped commemorate by bringing hats adorned with the Kill Phil logo. Then Elvis29 got the event off to a swinging start. Once play began, Hannah looked like she might provide the biggest story of the day, coming back from an early exit during the previous Las Vegas event to make it into a heads-up battle. But this Las Vegas spectacular would belong to TSS 777, who parlayed a favorable starting seat and completed one of the most dominating performances in MPT history, one in which he eliminated 9 of his 14 opponents, including the last 5 players, setting records for the most points and most kills in a single MPT event, to become the 3rd Las Vegas Spectacular champion and the first person residing outside the state of California to do so. As reigning MPT Player of the Year, Sass had already established herself as one of the top players on tour as the 4th event of the 2010 season began. But with 6 runner-up finishes in her first 18 events, no one finished second more often than Sass. Add in a handful of third-place cashes, and the only person to win the Player of the Year trophy without winning a single tournament was serious about changing that story in the 3rd ECLVA Fall Classic. She once again put herself in contention, and this time, after a short heads-up battle with Big Fuss, the longest drought for any player before her first victory was over, as Sass won her first career tournament in her 23rd MPT event. In 2011, Big Fuss capped off a record-setting season with her first main event victory. In December of 2012, she did it again, becoming the 2nd player in history to win the MPT's most prestigious event twice, and the 2nd player to win back-to-back main events. By December of 2015, Harv 29 was already one of the most accomplished players in MPT history, but one title had eluded him. Just like his beloved Capitals had always fallen short in the Stanley Cup playoffs, so had Harv 29 at the main event. But in an event that foreshadowed the success of his favorite NHL team, on this day it was Harv 29 who delivered the knockout blow, leaving his opponents in the dust and giving him the chance to hoist the MPT main event trophy for the first time. After a slow start to her MPT career, including finishing last or second to last in 6 of her first 7 events, Noah Cat set out to end 2016 on a high note. 4 years after her first cash, and more than 7 years since her first MPT tournament, she simply ran over the main event field that day. Noah Cat survived the battle with Judy KQ's big stack, and then quickly dispatched Rowan B heads up, eliminating 7 of her 9 opponents en route to her first MPT victory, becoming the 8th different player to win a main event title. September of 2019 marked another of the most dominating performances in MPT history, as Big Fuss eliminated all 6 of her opponents, recording only the 2nd shutout in MPT history. After a somewhat run-of-the-mill start to the tournament, Big Fuss began a spree of busting other players, knocking out the last 4 players in 15 minutes and eliminating her final 2 foes on the same hand only 2 minutes after bursting the bubble, ending the fastest heads-up play in MPT history and earning her all-time record 10th MPT title. We hope you've enjoyed this look back at some of the greatest moments in the history of the MPT, and we look forward to seeing you join us in the future on the tables or mattresses, and as we continue to share the history of the Mattress Poker Tour.